Turning to the new report now from the Pentagon about unidentified flying objects. There were hundreds of new reported sightings over the last year, and some the government still can't explain. Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz joins us with the details. It's quite the talker. Martha, good morning.
That's a UFO up there.
The speed was extraordinary.
Ooh. It looks like a flying saucer.
I made it my job to get it on tape.
Something was out there. Something overpowered the satellite.
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
It all sounds straight out of a science fiction movie, but these unidentified airborne objects are taken very seriously by the Pentagon and the intelligence community. And this morning, their new report revealing that these sightings are on the rise.
If it is a hoax, it was done very well.
It just disappeared, vanished. It's gone. It's gone. I don't know.
Probably moved 100 miles in a matter of a second or two.
The velocity is impossible.
What I saw in that footage blew my mind.
What is that?
You can no longer trust what the tape shows.
Every attempt to get to the bottom of this has been stonewalled.
There's more to this world than you see.
I think there's every reason to fear these things.
It's not surprising that if something like this had been reported to the War Cabinet and been discussed by Churchill, it may well have been kept secret because, for example, when the first V2 rocket landed in London, created a huge crater, killed lots of people, the War Office press release that went out was that it was a gas explosion because they didn't want to panic people at the time.
As the 20th century came to a close, more UFO cases were being reported than at any time in history. And not surprisingly, video cameras are now capturing hundreds of these baffling, unidentified flying objects, which continue to puzzle both those who believe and those who don't.
It was taken in June by Chris Martin, a man who says he's seen 60 UFOs in 3 years.
When I set my eyes on it, I realized it wasn't anything conventional. I mean, my heart started racing, the adrenaline starts pumping through, and you get the shakes. You know, it's really almost euphoric feeling.
Tonight, we will present the most compelling videotape evidence of extraordinary and unknown craft ever shown on television, and hear from a top government physicist, a video analyst, and the eyewitnesses themselves. Could these be actual alien spacecraft, sophisticated military vehicles hidden from the public, or incredible hoaxes? The UFO video you are now seeing has never been shown publicly.
That's a UFO up there.
It is. I got it.
Visually, it is perhaps the most spectacular UFO footage ever shot. Experts we called on to analyze it are intrigued. As incredible as it sounds, it appears to be a real flying saucer caught on tape.
I got it on film here and zoomed into it.
It was shot by a young man who was attending an outdoor arts festival in Nevada last September. Speaking for the first time on national television, the cameraman, who goes by the name Eric, recounts his UFO sightings and how it felt to capture it on tape.
I reached for my camera and I zoomed in and got a close-up of it that the naked eye could not make out, because to the naked eye, it looked like just a speck of red light way up there in the sky. When you zoom in, you see this incredible array of lights that are going around a rim. I think the footage speaks for itself. We just sat there just so in awe of what it was, not knowing anything. It looks like a flying saucer, but you try and your mind's going, no, this can't be.
Eric claims that shortly after beginning to videotape the UFO, his batteries ran out. When he returned with the camera fully charged, the mysterious object had vanished.
It must have left pretty quickly because it caught it sitting there motionless. As you'll see, it does not move, and the camera's lock is sitting steadily on the ground. So that's what makes it so interesting to me.
But could this merely be someone's intricately designed device made to wow the Nevada festival participants? Or is it an actual hovering craft of unknown origin?
I don't see any indications that this was added after the event. Whatever this light phenomena is, it seems to be at that location. The most significant detraction to this being a UFO is the fact that it appeared during a festival that celebrates light sculpture. So my guess would be this is some kind of floating device with lots of Christmas lights that's being suspended in the air somehow. Possibly a balloon. But it seems to genuinely be there in the sky.
This video clearly shows an object out there, some sort of a device, man-made or not man-made, but an artificial device with lights that appear to be going around, flashing on and off in a very strange manner. One could argue that it's a real UFO.
Yet Eric himself seems to suggest both on the tape and in his interview. The object he videotaped could have a very earthly explanation.
Damn, it looks good. That's a really good effect. Whatever that is, it's a really good effect. Being that we're out there with a lot of creative individuals, that somebody somehow managed to suspend the most brilliant light sculpture up in the heavens. That's a pretty beautiful object, whatever it is.
October 1994. This incredible video of what appears to be a gigantic UFO hovering next to New York City's World Trade Center was shot by a group of Italian tourists aboard a cruise ship. Is it possible the video actually shows a huge flying saucer over Manhattan?
If this image is real, it's amazing. What strikes me as being unconvincing about this videotape, shot in Lower Manhattan, is the camera operator, even though he's got a huge UFO appearing by the Twin Towers, actually moves the camera away and down. And on the audio portion of the tape, no one is reacting to what should be a terrifying phenomenon.
And here you have a video of what would be a huge object, if it's a real object out there at the distance of the Twin Trade Centers. So you would expect that the people who got that video would have done something with it. They would have told the UFO groups. Instead, this video just sort of remained underground, has been rediscovered right here on this show.
Though the World Trade Center UFO video remains a mystery, other people around the country are actually using video cameras to capture extraordinary objects that cannot be explained conventionally. Some people are actually becoming UFO video hunters. Chris Miller is one of them.
I guess it started with my grandfather. He died in 1980 and left me all of his material and on Erich von Däniken. And Erich von Däniken's whole idea was that we were visited once before. And it was my idea that I want to try to go out and try to get proof for this. It started basically 5 years ago in Michigan, while we were living in Michigan, and I caught one object on video and I brought it to the airport, and no one knew what it was there, and that's how the ball started rolling. On May 2nd, 1998, we were outside, my son and I were outside playing in the dirt, and I look up and I saw, and it was kind of cloudy that day, and I saw something sitting up in the clouds. So I ran real quick, my camcorder was ready to go, I came back and I zoomed right up to it. For about 15 minutes I had this on video, but for the first 5 minutes, all of a sudden it disappeared. It went from one part of the sky at least 30 miles in a split second. I zip the camera over and I catch it again. And it was just absolutely fantastic because the object is huge. It's definitely over 100 feet in diameter. I set the zoom on infinity basically and zoomed into the maximum, and it looks, it's hard to say what it looks like, but it looks like a flying saucer.
Incredibly, Miller was able to capture this amazing UFO cluster and 2 orbs on video as well.
When I was taping the cluster, my heart was racing. You can even hear me breathing hard. After I realized what I captured on tape, it felt great. For the past 3 years, I've been told so many things, I'm not really sure what to believe anymore. Naval Intelligence studied my footage for 4 months, and their only comment was they have no idea what the objects are. I have no idea what I'm catching on video. If these objects are ours, military, secret projects, we're at least 1,000 years beyond our present technology that they let us know about. I personally think it's a desensitization process that our public is going through by seeing these things. Try to have your camcorder handy and ready at all times, so when you do see something, you'll catch something amazing on video, and then we all can come together and go to Congress with this, and then the public hearings could start, and the Americans could learn the truth once and for all.
And Miller is not alone in his desire to capture UFO evidence for public scrutiny. Tom Saborin, another UFO hunter, began videotaping UFOs after seeing extraordinary footage taken over Gulf Breeze, Florida in the early 1990s.
It's breathtaking. When I first seen the videos in Gulf Breeze, it made me go out and get a camera. I started going out every night and every day. I made it my job to get it on tape. It looked like a big cigarette. It was flying across the sky. It looked like 4 balls that was connected. The third ball to the end was red. The last ball white, 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 red. I think it either could be extraterrestrial or some type of new animal. I'm just a hunter. We don't want to hear about it. We want to see it.
Whether UFOs turn out to be majestic light sculptures, unknown craft above major cities, or possible military vehicles, there's no doubt that mysterious things are being captured in the skies over America. Maybe with more and more video evidence being studied, answers to the UFO riddle will start to emerge. While UFOs have been caught on tape all over America, UFO researchers have wondered for years what NASA cameras may have managed to capture in outer space.
Franklin, we see a long line.
Amazingly, these shocking video sequences shown here for the first time on television might prove once and for all that NASA knows UFOs are navigating just above the Earth and dangerously close to our space shuttle missions.
When I saw the tape, I realized that I was looking at very exciting, incredible footage that has never before been seen by the public.
David Sarita, a former Defense Department subcontractor, has been studying NASA's possible interest in UFOs for over 15 years. And he believes this incident, which has since become legendary on the internet as the Tether incident, may prove UFOs are real. February 25th, 1996, 100 miles above Africa, an experimental satellite system attached to a 12-mile-long electricity-conducting tether suddenly breaks. Within moments, the satellite drifts almost 100 miles away. Nitrogen gas gathers around the tether, effectively turning it into a gigantic fluorescent light in space. Incredibly, it seems to attract some strange company.
You see a swarm of what may be UFOs flying around it, and then we see the cameras zoom in on these objects, and we see giant discs passing behind this tether.
But is it simply debris, as is often claimed by NASA when looking at alleged UFOs in space? Watch what happens when the cameras zoom in.
What we're seeing on the screen here appears very small, but if you blew this up, you would see that these objects are enormous in size. This UFO here, I measured approximately 2 to 3 miles in diameter against the 12-mile length of the tether. If it's further behind the tether than I think, it could be much larger.
The potential size of these UFOs is clearly mind-boggling. And according to Sarita, so is the advanced technology behind them. Would a piece of space junk pulsate in a regular pattern as we see here?
This spiral, to me, suggests a gravity wave that is stronger than light. This, to me, is proof in quantum physics that these UFOs are utilizing very advanced forms of gravity energy and zero-point energy.
Sarita believes that our space program does not yet possess this technology, nor the capability to perform the startling maneuvers displayed by these UFOs caught on tape during another shuttle mission.
If you look over here, you're going to see something that a meteorite cannot do. You're going to see a high-speed, angular turn, and the object continues. The G-forces on a turn like this would flatten any astronaut into a pancake.
Could all these objects be written off as mere space debris, as NASA contends? If that's so, then how can they explain this eye-opening footage of UFOs forming above the Earth?
As these UFOs reach their positions in the circle, they light up, showing incredible intelligence. There we see a UFO light up right in the middle of the circle. This shows intelligence.
Whatever the UFOs videotaped by NASA cameras are, there's no doubt that back down on Earth, They continue to be filmed over every major country around the globe. February 3rd, 1995. During the early morning hours, a woman tapes this mysterious craft hovering above Beijing, China. Notice how the glowing object floats, making no sharp turns or sudden maneuvers. While some dismiss the craft as a blimp, airline pilot and UFO researcher Jim Carant is not so sure.
I'm quite aware of what a blimp looks like, and these advertising blimps are in many areas around the world. And I have checked with the blimp company that supplies many of the advertising blimps. We also did a check with the control tower, the radar, military and civilian over there, and there were no registered aircraft in the area at that time, blimp or otherwise. So I'm not quite sure what it is.
UFO.
May 29th, 1993, Stuttgart, Germany. Halfway around the world, then 15-year-old Kai Metzger recorded a craft remarkably similar to the one seen over Beijing, China.
I saw this thing and I thought, oh my God, what's that? And because of that, I took my camera and shoot it, and I was really afraid of it.
What are we to make of these unusual-looking craft videotaped in the skies above China and Germany? Are they blimps or something much more inexplicable? Dr. Bruce Maccabee believes he has the answer.
We have studied a number of videos with this sort of an image, and in some cases have been able to absolutely prove that this is an image of a blimp which has lights on the inside, a transparent skin. This shape right here matches very closely, or perhaps exactly, with the known shapes of internally lighted blimps.
Derby, England, March 13th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was caught on tape for nearly an hour. The strangely shaped object was described as being completely silent. A few years later, in August 1998, a large metallic object was caught on tape again in England, this time in the village of Silbury Hill, an area famous for UFO sightings. The noiseless craft was said to hover in the sky for 2 to 3 minutes before disappearing, and then it returned, and then blinked out. During a 5-month-long wave of UFO sightings in Peru in February 1999, 2 photographers captured the same imposing object on the very same evening just outside Lima. The next night, this mysterious craft was caught on tape again for a full 40 minutes as it hovered above the nearby town of Pueblo Libre. Look at this red glow on the object's underside. Later, 3 distinct white lights appear on top. Jim Carant finds the images baffling.
You have something that was so strange that anybody seeing it would have to say, I can't explain it.
May 15th, 1996, Quito, Ecuador. A round object was spotted in the night sky. Again, the craft exhibited an elaborate array of lights. No known man-made object or aircraft looks like this. December 3rd, 1994, Monterrey, Mexico. What you are seeing is perhaps the most compelling nighttime UFO video ever caught on tape in that region. A respected UFO researcher, Santiago Itoria, shot the tape.
From the mountain emerged this huge, red glowing, very bright object. So I began filming. And we realized that it was indeed a UFO, a triangular shape, red glowing UFO, very silent, and it was very low altitude.
Look here as Itoria zooms in with his camera, focusing on its mysterious red glow.
We took 2 days reviewing the video, making analysis on the computer, and we discovered that this UFO has this kind of energy all around.
Can there be any simple explanations for the strange objects continuously being recorded around the globe and even above it? Most UFO investigators remain perplexed. Interestingly, some don't see it as a threat, but as a blessing.
We don't know what they are, where do they come from, what do they want, but we are convinced that this presence is positive to our lives.
Among the many impressive cases of UFOs caught on tape around the world, perhaps none has captured the public's imagination as much as those seen over Mexico. The wave of sightings, which started in 1991, continued throughout the decade as UFO watchers kept their cameras trained to the sky. Amazingly, Many Mexican people are starting to believe that not only are unidentified flying objects navigating in the skies above them, but aliens are actually landing and meeting with their countrymen. December 8th, 1999. As a Mexico City businessman got dressed for work in the early morning, he spotted this unusual craft outside his window and managed to capture it on tape. Listen as he speaks to the possible inhabitants of the unknown craft.
¿Sabes qué? Llámale para alguna cosa de los medios de comunicación.
He realized that it could be some of the so-called UFOs, and it was the classic shape of the oval UFO, most of the times present in the skies of Mexico. He was very excited, and he said, "How are you, boys? How are you staying? What can you tell me about Alpha Centauri?" And suddenly the object disappeared. Maybe they didn't like the comments.
Notice the dark upper and bottom edges of the craft, and the spinning movement in the middle, which seems to disturb the atmosphere around it. Whatever was floating in the Mexico City sky that morning remains a mystery. But there are some UFO cases in Mexico which, simply put, are either too good to be true or elaborate hoaxes. Incredibly, some of these even involve meetings with alleged alien beings. November 1991, Tepoztlan, Mexico. A man named Carlos Diaz managed to capture a UFO over his house. Look here as he zooms in on the strange orange object in the sky. Then suddenly, he is somehow right on top of it, as we see amazing detail rarely seen in any UFO video.
It was like a plasma, classic plasma shape with red color, red glowing color, and with these spinning movements that show that it was indeed a UFO and not another known object.
While Carlos Diaz's first videos may be impressive to some experts, many still feel that Diaz, a professional photographer, should have stopped there. Since his first videotaped sighting, Diaz has managed to record many other UFOs, but some of them are simply too far-fetched and simply look hoaxed. Look at this video taken in June of 1992. Notice how the UFO suddenly appears out of nowhere, almost as if it is turned on like a light bulb. Another video taken in May of 1993 shows the craft close up. Suddenly, some strange laser beam seemingly shoots out from the bottom. But are we seeing an actual UFO, or merely part of an elaborate hoax perpetrated by Diaz? Dr. Bruce Maccabee has viewed much of the Diaz material.
This video was shot through a window in his house, and that means that there's the possibility that he could have hung something in front of the camera, just outside his house, quite easily.
But do we disregard all of Diaz's video evidence simply because some of it may not look credible?
Now, I can't say that every one of these things is not an actual unidentified flying object out there. I would tend to believe that some of them may be fabricated.
Even more shockingly, Diaz is claiming actual alien contact. He alleges that beings from another world invite him aboard their spaceships and give him messages for mankind.
Carlos Diaz told me that he was absorbed by the plasma craft in some way. So when he met the occupants, he said that they were beings of light, kind of spiritual extraterrestrials.
September 1994. In the small village of Metepec in central Mexico, a woman went public with a video showing a supposed alien being in a field next to her home. She didn't shoot it just once. She allegedly shot it twice. The alleged alien in the field videotaped in Metepec has made news headlines in several countries. But is it real? Take a look at the image. It appears to be a glowing creature of some kind. The body seems somewhat squatty, the head possibly a typical alien seen in many magazines and newspapers as well as books. What are we to make of it? Many experts are baffled. To this day, it remains a mystery. But incredibly, Mexico is not the only place where alleged living aliens are said to be videotaped. An intriguing video started to make the rounds in America and around the world a few years ago. It purportedly shows a creature or being from another planet being interviewed by our government at Area 51 in Nevada. Jeff Broadstreet, a producer, has worked on a documentary about the alleged alien interview. He claims it shows a being and the American government somehow let it leak out. He says he obtained the strange video from a mysterious source simply known as Victor.
He said that he smuggled it out of Area 51 when the footage was being transferred from videotape to digital disc storage, and that's how he was able to get the footage out. According to the source, what we are seeing is an EBE, an extraterrestrial biological entity, held in an interrogation room at Area 51, and he is being interrogated by a government telepath.
Take a very careful look at this supposed alien being as he sits in a small interrogation room at Area 51. Is he really answering questions telepathically, as the source Victor claims?
The thing about the footage, and the thing that grabs people, is that after you look at it, it has this kind of creepy quality that tends to get to people, and it tends to kind of hook them. Whether you believe it or you disbelieve it, people want to see the footage.
Suddenly, the alleged alien seems to suffer a coughing attack. Within seconds, supposed medical personnel are at his side, giving him comfort.
The medics rush in and shine a light in his face as if to take a look at his mouth, his airway, as if cleaning it out, or supposedly the way they breathe is not the same way that we breathe. So the medics come in while he's coughing or choking, and that's essentially where the footage ends.
But the question has to be asked, could it be possible that an alien was interviewed by the government, or is it simply another well-executed hoax?
The Hollywood animatronic puppet experts basically thought it looked fake and puppety.
Though it's hard to believe, Broadstreet still thinks the alien interview could be authentic.
You have to think, or maybe possibly speculate, that if they have captured flying saucers, that there might possibly be pilots or occupants of those flying saucers.
While in recent years, UFOs have been videotaped in record numbers around the world, and even above it, nowhere have there been more sightings of mysterious craft than over Israel. The inexplicably eerie UFOs caught on tape over the Holy Land are some of the most extraordinary images ever recorded. As incredible as it sounds, some experts even believe they are proof we are being visited by extraterrestrials. September 1996. This peculiar and fascinating image was filmed by a resident of an area called Kfar Saba. When the craft first appeared, it resembled an apple with a strange top and bottom. Amazingly, this incredible UFO was seen again in a different configuration the next evening. After it appeared a third night, the videographer marveled at its intricate design. Look here at the many forms it seems to take. One night, there are 3 lights on top. The second night, only 1. The third night, the lights take on the shape of a crown, and the entire object shrinks in size and turns a deep shade of orange. UFO researcher Michael Lindemann has never come across anything quite like this.
Seeing the video of this thing, I must say it's very impressive, and I can't imagine what it is. It doesn't look like any prosaic object that I can think of. It doesn't bear any reasonable resemblance to a conventional aircraft of any kind.
We showed the intriguing video to Dr. Bruce Maccabee. He offers a possible explanation for what we're seeing.
The question is this image shape actually the shape of the object, or has it been modified by the camera? If it's on automatic focus, it likely tries to focus at a wrong distance. When that happens, you get an image in which the shape of the image is related to the aperture of the camera rather than the actual shape of the object.
But how is it possible that the same individual, using the same camera, captured 3 separate images on 3 separate nights? If so, what are we really looking at? Maccabee cannot say for sure.
This thing right here suggests to me that the actual shape of the object has not got round things like that on it. It was a very bright light, which may well be a UFO. But the shape of the object is probably not this shape.
But this amazing, flying, structured craft has no earthly explanation. It was seen over the small farming village of Kibbutz Hatzor for 3 consecutive nights in August of 1996. This video, shot by a young resident of the kibbutz, shows a bizarre-looking, partially lit craft with strange red markings and rectangular shapes. When the camera zooms in, we see what appears to be a light on the craft's left side take on amazing structure. The structure, some say, resembles a huge flying building with hallways. 17-year-old Amiche Shoah was stunned to be awakened by the strange, bright object in the night sky. He watched in amazement as it hovered above for hours. He waited for its return the next night, video camera in hand. By the 3rd night, word of the strange craft had spread, and some 60 members of the kibbutz came out to see it in all its glorious color. This time, Amiche's batteries failed, but he managed to film the odd craft again using a neighbor's camera. Look what he managed to capture on tape. The structure is so massive that the illuminated portion is said to represent only 5 to 7% of its actual size. Is this the design of some otherworldly architect? As incredible as it sounds, some UFO researchers claim it could be housing alien inhabitants, giant aliens as described in the Bible.
No one has ever seen one like this before. So it was captured on 2 separate nights, 1 separate morning. Over 100 people saw it.
Barry Chamish is one of the most respected UFO investigators in Israel today. He believes that this is one of the most extraordinary UFOs ever caught on tape.
What we're dealing with Hatzor is a very large UFO. This thing is not just a round disc. This thing's got windows. It's got 2 rows of windows or vents, or who knows what on earth they're shaped, because they are very odd, offbeat squares. And they managed to get a close-up of these vents. I mean, really close. You're right inside them. And they could be teeth for all you know. And you have no idea what's attacking you. But this orange structure, I believe it's energy vents or something. Something to do with venting energy.
The kibbutz is near an Israeli Air Force base, but Chamish is convinced this is no military craft.
Everything is wrong. The dimensions are wrong. The squares aren't quite squares. If it was a military vehicle, it hasn't come back. It's never been, the likes of it have never been seen ever again.
Then what was hovering above Israel for 3 consecutive nights that summer?
Obviously, if this is up in the sky, there's nothing that's supposed to be up in the sky that looks quite like that. It apparently is some object which has got that sort of a size to it in this level of blow-up. When they zoom in and get a structured image out of this, it just plain, it doesn't look like anything that I've ever seen. It doesn't look like any ordinary UFO, that's for sure, but it certainly doesn't look like an airplane or a blimp, balloons or whatever. This would have to be considered to be unknown.
These unexplainable UFOs videotaped over Israel have never been sighted anywhere else in the world. Some believe the Holy Land may hold special significance for visitors from other worlds. Even Israeli television has broadcast images of possible UFOs on the news. However, according to Chamish, the Israeli military has secretly viewed UFOs as a possible threat.
Israel has never admitted to UFOs, and I know for a fact that our Air Force is chasing them constantly. I was in the Air Force. We were ordered not to tell anyone.
This extraordinary footage may actually show a UFO being tracked by an Israeli military jet. The video was shot by a student named Gil Bar.
I got my camera and zoom in on the object, and as I zoom in, the object began to get closer or brighter, and I didn't understand what it was.
But what happened next is even more baffling. Visually, it appears as though the objects are interacting. Notice how the two seem to be checking each other out. But who is following who? Is the plane a fighter jet attempting to achieve lock-on or awaiting further instruction from the ground? Or is the orb engaging the jet in a little fun? Finally, the two seem to cross paths before the jet flies out of frame.
It's an electronic cat and mouse game. You've got a high-flying surveillance plane throwing all this electronics on this disc, and this disc kind of bopping away from the waves or the beams. I think it was just playing with this plane.
But there was nothing playful about this dramatic UFO encounter recorded on September 28, 1996, near the town of Rosh Ha'im, not far from Tel Aviv. Could this be a UFO being shot down, or two rival UFOs engaged in battle? Chamish believes the craft involved are not of this world.
We don't have things like that in anybody's Air Force. And secondly, there was no shrapnel. There's no sparks. Nothing physical exploded.
Chamish thinks that the UFOs over Israel are definitely not military aircraft, but may in fact be aliens, and their appearance may be cause for alarm.
Well, what are they here for? I think there's every reason to fear these things.
As we've shown tonight, Americans and people around the world are continuing to capture more and more videos of unidentified flying objects in our skies. Whether they turn out to be intricate light sculptures created for amusement, as is probably the case with this extraordinary UFO videotaped at a Nevada Performance Art Festival, or perhaps a too-good-to-be-true flying saucer caught on tape hovering over New York City. Each provocative case needs to be studied until firm answers are found. Some experts, as well as videographers, believe that governments are not doing enough to solve the UFO enigma.
I don't think that UFOs come from such a high level of mystery that we're incapable of understanding them. I think that we have yet to launch the kind of investigation that the mystery deserves.
In a recent development, an increasing number of self-described UFO hunters are uniting through informal channels and the internet to share videos as well as information.
I'm in contact with about 12 people right now that are hardcore like me. But I know there got to be at least 50 of us. Maybe in the future it's going to pick up as a fad or something, and there's going to be more and more.
100,000 people had camcorders or a camera. That right there, Congress would definitely open their eyes to have a study.
Even NASA's own cameras are capturing strange, disc-shaped objects that seem to demonstrate technology that might be more advanced than our own. But what's more astounding is that some experts think these discs could be tied to our Earth's past and might also be memorialized in ancient artifacts.
In 1938, high in the mountains of China, archaeologists discovered these round stones with a black dot in the middle and little notches out of the side. Now, if you notice in the UFO here, we have a black hole in the middle and a little notch in the side. The discs that were discovered in China also had a carved, spiraling wave that radiated from the center of the dot all the way to the outside of the periphery. It was a perfect match. I believe that these Dropa stones were made as artifacts to record what the ancient peoples of China saw in the skies. The same thing that we're seeing on this tape.
More evidence that UFOs could have wide-ranging implications to mankind can be found in the wave of sightings caught on tape in the Holy Land. Israeli UFO researchers believe these strange craft could be tied to the scripture.
It seems like every race of UFO and alien are rushing to Israel the last 12 years. The Bible does describe what we call UFOs today.
So what are we to make of the extraordinary UFO videos recorded in Israel, around the world, and even in outer space? Could we be getting closer to answering the questions these videos increasingly raise? Some people think it's only a matter of time, and that the ever-proliferating video camera might be the tool that finally makes the ultimate difference.
Yes, I think that cameras might be a tool to prove those things. And because without cameras, you cannot shoot these things. And so no one can see your video.
If you don't have it on tape, and then it's just another story out of 10 billion stories, we want to see it on tape. We don't want to hear about it. We want to see it.
Our prospects are good that someday, most of us may live to see the day when we understand what this really is.
Turning to the new report now from the Pentagon about unidentified flying objects. There were hundreds of new reported sightings over the last year, and some the government still can't explain. Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz joins us with the details. It's quite the talker. Martha, good morning.
That's a UFO up there.
The speed was extraordinary.
UFO. It looks like a flying saucer.
I made it my job to get it on tape.
Something was out there. Something overpowered the satellite.
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
It all sounds straight out of a science fiction movie, but these unidentified airborne objects are taken very seriously by the Pentagon and the intelligence community. And this morning, their new report revealing that these sightings are on the rise.
If it is a hoax, it was done very well.
It just disappeared, vanished. It's gone. It's gone. I don't know.
Probably moved 100 miles in a matter of a second or two.
The velocity is impossible.
What I saw in that footage blew my mind.
What is it? You can no longer trust what the tape shows.
Every attempt to get to the bottom of this has been stonewalled.
There's more to this world than you see.
I think there's every reason to fear these things.
It's not surprising that if something like this had been reported to the War Cabinet and been discussed by Churchill, it may well have been kept secret because, for example, when the first V2 rocket landed in London, created a huge crater, killed lots of people, the War Office press release that went out was that it was a gas explosion because they didn't want to panic people at the time.
As the 20th century came to a close, more UFO cases were being reported than at any time in history. And not surprisingly, video cameras are now capturing hundreds of these baffling unidentified flying objects, which continue to puzzle both those who believe and those who don't.
New numbers this morning from May of 2023 to June of 2024 show 757 new sightings, with 21 of them that cannot be explained. And all 21 mysterious objects were seen near national security sites, witnessed by multiple people or captured on sensors or videos.
It was taken in June by Chris Martin, a man who says he's seen 60 UFOs in 3 years.
When I set my eyes on it, I realised it wasn't anything conventional. I mean, my heart started racing, the adrenaline starts pumping through, and you get the shakes. You know, it's really almost euphoric feeling.
As we move further into the 21st century, interest in UFOs is certain to increase. And with more and more people using video cameras, the number of alleged UFOs caught on tape is also certain to grow. But the more these videos get to be seen, not only by the experts, but by the public itself, the less of a puzzle they will be. Eventually, the scientists, cameramen, special effects experts, and the rest of us will be able to clearly distinguish the hoaxed UFOs from those that ask a bigger question. Are those mysterious lights and formations being caught on tape nothing more than misunderstood phenomena or secret military craft, or are we really being visited by beings from outer space? The answer might be one great UFO video away. So keep looking at the skies and focus